604, Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP, mornings with Brian Haldane off and running. Brian here with you, John LaBeouf producing. Getting your week started. We are ready to roll. Oh, man. What an incredible weekend, too. What an absolutely incredible weekend. You might hear the scratch in the voice. No, that's not from shouting at LSU in jubilation. Had a little bout with food poisoning over the weekend, so I'm hoping that things hold up. I don't need another revisit of the whole lost voice thing. But man, oh man, LSU brings home the 8th national championship in baseball's in baseball program history. We're going to talk about that a whole lot. In fact, we got a lot of ground to cover. So let's go ahead and get started with a little top stories and trending.
Number 5.
Louisiana leaders gave their thoughts after the United States struck Iranian nuclear sites on Saturday. No real shocker here. Everyone but Cleo Fields and Troy Carter thought it was the right call.
Number 4.
A federal appeals court ruled Friday that a Louisiana law that public schools must post a copy of the 10 Commandments cannot be enforced. 3 judges from the 5th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals said the law, which took effect on January 1st, is, quote, plainly unconstitutional and upheld a ruling by a lower court barring the law from being enforced. AG Liz Murrell's office said they aren't done. They'll be seeking more opinions from other judges, up to and including the U.S. Supreme Court, if necessary.
Number 3.
We got the first big X of the season on the hurricane map. As of now, there's a disturbance in the Atlantic that has a 70% chance of forming into a named storm over the next 7 days. It has 0 chance of affecting us. It's out in the Atlantic. It's going to stay in the Atlantic and just kind of move north from where it is. But if it does become a named storm, it will be Andrea.
Number 2.
One woman was killed. 5 others were wounded when gunfire erupted near a nightclub called the Big Blue House on South Choctaw Drive early Sunday morning. Police detained at least 3 people but have not filed charges yet. Investigators also recovered 160 shell casings, 8 vehicles, and at least 6 firearms. Reports are this started as a fist fight and it escalated from there.
Number 1.
Number 1, of course, takes us to Omaha, Nebraska, where LSU baseball gets the job done in 2 games. A sweep of the Coastal Carolina Chanticleers. LSU brings home their 8th baseball championship. What's trending, John?
Well, Donald Trump's decision to strike 3 nuclear targets in Iran over the weekend continues to garner reaction.
Whole lot of reaction.
Yeah, it does.
I mean, we're over here celebrating baseball, and the rest of the country was like talking about Iran. You know, it's
Yeah. One heck of a weekend, though, right?
Oh,
Everything going down like that.
yeah. Between the two, there's no shortage, to be sure.
Yeah.
The bigger question here is going to be about those who, if any of your level of Donald Trump, of your level of support of Donald Trump was based off of every previous president having us in a war and Donald Trump keeping us in peace, this is going to be some serious consideration time.
Absolutely. In other news, Elon Musk has made it official. Tesla is now in the robo-taxi business and will be rolling out autonomous cabs later this year.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Jeez. So they're starting off in Austin, and they're 420 a ride.
Read that.
420 a ride, so caught that reference as well.
Yeah. Pros and cons to robo-taxis, huh?
The pro is the seamlessness of it. Like Haggai talks about this all the time during Cup of Tech Gumbo, right?
He does, yep.
Is the advancements are to the point where they drive flawlessly. They do not get into accidents. If they do get into an accident, it's a human's fault. I get all that side, but I don't think this is going to be a very fast rollout. And I think the adaptation is going to be slow as well.
Yeah. What about you? You think you get an autonomous taxi?
No.
Yeah,
absolutely
same.
not.
Yeah, I just
absolutely not.
Myself
Am I going somewhere that I need to be there? Am I going somewhere like if I'm headed somewhere that I know I have to be there, I'm not getting in an autonomous taxi. In the off chance that something goes haywire, look at where we are with AI right now.
Yeah.
How many times does AI hallucinate?
You're right. Yeah.
So
Last thing you need is that,
right,
being in control of your destination.
right. So not for me. I'm
Yep.
sure other folks are gonna love it.
Oh, for sure. The final tally for Rocco's in Omaha, LSU did not break the record from 2 years ago, but did annihilate the competition in the Jello Shot Challenge with 52,390 shots purchased. Wow.
Nobody else was in 5 figures. How amazing is that? Nobody else reached that 10,000 shot mark before it was all said and done. Coastal did end up finishing second because, they stuck around the longest. So we hit 52,390. The second place finisher was Coastal Carolina at 91.17. After that was Arkansas at 9,075. Murray State, 8,340. Then it drops off down to Oregon State after that, 2,131.
Okay.
Louisville, 2,089. Arizona, 1,876. And UCLA, a paltry 1,655 shots.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
52,000 and change. And we came nowhere close. We didn't come within, 18,000 or 16,000 of the record.
Yeah.
So,
Better luck next year, right?
I suppose, I'm sure, if we're not headed back, we'll be close.
Oh, yeah.
We're coming up on 612 at Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. If you do not have your lunch plans laid out yet, and who does, really? It's not even 6:15 in the morning. Might I recommend the folks over at P.F. Chang's? You know where to find P.F. Chang's? Of course you do. I've been telling you every day. Town Center, off Corbin Boulevard, look for the giant golden horse. What are you getting there? You are getting Asian-inspired cuisine. Asian-inspired cuisine with better ingredients, fresher ingredients. It's an overall, when you go to P.F. Chang's for lunch, you're not knocked out in the afternoon. Like when you think about Chinese food and you think about all that grease just weighing you down from takeout, this isn't that. They do a healthier job, a better job, a more flavorful job across the board. And I've yet to have the item on P.F. Chang's menu that I haven't absolutely adored. Check them out in Town Center. Look for the giant golden horse. it held up until I got home. But the second I got home from the game on Saturday night, I just started vomiting, and I didn't stop until 4 o'clock in the morning. Oh. Play 9.2 right now.
One out, bottom of the ninth. Runner at first. Shores comes set. The 0-1. Ground ball towards Dickinson. Flips it to Milam. The relay to first in time. Tigers win. Tigers win for the second time in 3 seasons and the 8th time in program history. The Fighting Tigers reach the pinnacle. They stand alone atop the mountain. Your LSU Fighting Tigers, the 2025 College Baseball National Champions.
Oh, and it took so much to get there as well. I mean, what an unbelievable run, in not just in Omaha, but throughout the season as well. And you knew going in with that 1-2 punch on the pitcher's mound, there was always a shot, right? And there was question after question as to, okay, what happens if it gets pushed to a game 3? Fortunately, didn't have to answer that question. It's 6:16 to Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. Let's get to a little post-game audio if we can. Starting off with Jay Johnson. Man, okay, how about the first coach to win 2 titles at the same school in that short a period of time?
I'm so proud right now. It's not to be taken for granted. Being here 2 years ago, that was special. Greatest night of my life. This is equal and maybe even tops in some ways.
Maybe even tops in some ways because of how last season ended in Chapel Hill. And Jay Johnson got to work immediately trying to put together the next team to have all the pieces in place so that the team would be ready to make a run like this.
Our motto for the year was tough and together. And I've never seen a team more mentally tough and consistent. I mean, we went through probably the hardest schedule in college baseball, and we had one hiccup. One. I mean, we're, a little speed bump at Auburn. But other than that, they dominated the season.
Unbelievable to follow from start to finish. I mean, I'm in awe of where this team, like how this team handled everything. You had the full mix. You had what a college baseball team should be. You had freshmen making an impact. I mean, look at Curiel at the top of the lineup. You had Cade Anderson, who probably would have had more of an impact last year, but he was still coming off of Tommy John surgery. And now he might be you don't know until you know, but he's the odds-on favorite to be the number 1 pick in the Major League Baseball draft. That dude, the number 1 pick in the draft. When you look at where Cade Anderson was when SEC play opened last year versus where he was when he threw a complete game shutout on Saturday, it is ridiculous. St. Paul's Wolf on top of the draft. I love that. But you had veterans, you had freshmen, you had a ton of transfer players coming in. You had, how about Chris Stanfield, transfer from Auburn? Says Johnson sold him on the vision from the start.
He's the man. Like, I say that all the time, but like, we come in and we know, what our jobs are, and he lays it out for us and makes it very, very easy to understand. So for us to just go out there and be ourselves and play our game, like that's what LSU is.
Stanfield's bat had a role yesterday, to be sure. A 2-run single in the 4th, that 4-run 4th inning that really separated the two. We'll hear that in the next segment. Let's flip over to the other side. Coach Kevin Schnall, and we'll hear about this in the next segment as well, got ejected in the first inning of the game. Controversial, to say the least. Schnall thought it was a quick hook after not hearing that he was warned because it was too loud in the stadium.
It is what it is, but if that warranted an ejection, man, there'd be a lot of ejections. As an umpire, I feel like it's your job to manage the game, the national championship game, with some poise, some calmness, and a little bit of tolerance.
we're going to revisit this in the next segment because I thought it was a quick hook as well. I think a lot of Tiger fans would agree it was a quick hook. But, man, just the complete lack of contrition by Schnall to say maybe I contributed to this at all. His complete defiance at saying, no, I was rooked. No. You win nothing from me on that. We will hear a ton of highlights in our next segment. Right now, here's the Fox Business Report. Go back into yesterday's first inning. I don't know, it's 1-3 or 1-4. Schnall getting the boot. Yesterday's highlights, it's in the first inning. Coach Schnall gets ejected. All right, we're looking at some pretty heavy delays right now to start off your morning around the University Lakes on I-10. I believe this is 10 westbound. The board's telling me 10 eastbound, but it looks like the delays are on 10 westbound. They'll start around Perkins Road, and they'll continue up to – it'll start around the Perkins Road exit, and then we'll continue up to the University Lakes. The board said that there's an accident on 10 eastbound near Dalrymple, but it's pushed off to the side of the road. But as far as what I'm seeing what I'm actually seeing, it looks like it's the other way. So outside of that, there's some minor delays on 12 westbound coming in when you get to just before the 10-12 merge. Backing things up into Livingston Parish, we're good to go on your way in. Ascension Parish on 10 westbound, good to go on your way in. 10 eastbound coming in for Port Allen, also looking great, as is 110. Surface streets, there is, I don't know how to describe this other than to tell you exactly what's on the page. It says private property crash, YMCA Plaza Drive at Perkins Road. So if you take Perkins in the morning, I'll be on the lookout for that, but I don't think it's actually jamming up any actual traffic right now, and that's the only blip on the surface streets that we've got. That's your look at traffic from the Shawbills Tire Traffic Center. .624, Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP, mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. Get you back into some LSU highlights, baseball highlights in just a quick second. Do need to tell you about the folks over at Mathern's. As summertime is here, you want to make sure when you're firing up the grill, you're taking advantage of all the deals. Mathern's has got you covered right there on their app. they've got, for example, this week, beef tenderloin, $13.99 a pound. USDA Prime, a filet mignon, $15.99 a pound. Boneless pork chops, $2.49 a pound. Every week they've got some great deals, and every week I know about them because I have the Bethurns Rewards app. Ground Round, $4.99 a pound. Chuck Roast, $5.99 a pound. Like, every week I know about them because I get the weekly ads sent right to me. And then on top of that, you get the deals of the week every week. Like, for example, this week, a 5-count Pillsbury Grand Biscuit tube is just 49 cents. I get the deals sent to me every single week, and I earn cash towards more groceries every time I shop at all 3 locations of Bethurns. Downtown on 3rd Street, in the Nicholson Gateway Shopping Center, or the OG location on Highland, just west of Kenilworth. It's Bethurns. Man, so on the struggle bus with the voice this morning. And I know the immediate reaction would be, well, you were screaming your head off at LSU baseball over the weekend. And no, that's unfortunately not the case. I had a little bout with food poisoning on Saturday night, and it got rough. It got really, really bad. So hopefully I'm on the mend, and this doesn't stick around. But, oh, man, that was brutal. I worked the game Saturday. I worked the LSU game Saturday. In fact, you know what? Normally when I'm working an LSU game, I'll swing by Bethurns to get some wings. And I probably should have done that on Saturday, or I wouldn't have been in this position. I would have just stopped by and gotten wings. Would have been good. But no, here I am, scratching it out like, So I'll tell you what, let's get some audio. Saturday was all about Cade Anderson. Your boy goes complete game, 10 strikeouts, shutout, gives up just 3 hits. The Tigers were only able to muster up 1 run on the offensive side, and 1 run was all Cade Anderson needed.
The 0-2 pitch. Swing and a miss. Thorndike down on strikes and 3 pitches. Cade Anderson. Punch out number 10. 1 down, 2 to go for the Fighting Tigers of LSU.
Yes, sir. I don't know if you could start an inning better than a 3-pitch strikeout.
No, I don't think he can. I mean, that was phenomenal. His second highest pitch count of the season. I mean, just an absolutely gutsy performance from start to finish. I do wonder, though. About start times in Omaha. And this is one where we might want the NCAA might want to take a look at this. Those shadows on Friday were disgusting. And every game that started at 6 p.m., those shadows were nasty until about 7 o'clock, maybe a little bit after that. I'm wondering if maybe, in hindsight, looking at pushing the game back by an hour, it doesn't hurt you any. Push the game back by an hour, and you'll get more lively bats. Not that I'm complaining about a 1-0 win. I'm just saying, if you want more lively offensive output, maybe don't start the game in the middle of when these shadows play hell on everybody. But we were definitely the beneficiary of that on Saturday, to be sure. So LSU takes game 1, 1-0. Fast forward to Sunday. Game 2, you tied at 1. You're going into the 4th. LSU is the visiting team this time around. And, well, put some folks on the bases in order for Chris Stanfield to step up.
1-1 our score. Top of the 4th. A chance for the Tigers to open it up. The 1-0. Base hit left field. Here comes Brown. They're going to wave Jones around. The throw coming into second. And Chris Stanfield delivers. 2-run single. And the Tigers lead 3-1.
And they weren't done for the inning. Put together a couple more hits, put a couple more people on base. And then?
Love this scenario with Derek Curiel at the plate.
Oh, yeah.
There you go.
There's a base hit, center field. Come on home, Hernandez. Stanfield around third will join him. And the Tigers, off the bat of Derek Curiel, now lead 5-1.
Is that why you love it, Billy?
That's why I love it.
Of course, Chris Blair on the call on the LSU Sports Radio Network, along with Doug Thompson and Bill Franquez. Those guys were just money in the bank all weekend long. They were so much fun. That was a lot of fun to produce, to be sure. Tell you what, we're gonna hear this. I want to play this about 1 million times throughout the show this morning. Got to play how it ended again. Go.
1 out, bottom of the 9th. Runner at first. Shores comes set. The 0-1. Ground ball towards Dickinson. Flips it to Milam. The relay to first in time. Tigers win. Tigers win for the second time in 3 seasons and the 8th time in program history. The Fighting Tigers reach the pinnacle. They stand alone atop the mountain. Your LSU Fighting Tigers, the 2025 College Baseball National Champions.
It's just awesome to soak in. So good to soak in. That's 2 championships for Jay Johnson. We're on a ridiculous run as far as the overall program is concerned. I mean, dialing it all the way back to, the perfect team in 2019 that won the national championship under Ed Ogeron in football. You get Kim Mulkey's national championship. You got a gymnastics national championship. I believe there's a track and field mixed in there somewhere to go with 2 baseball championships as well. It's a good time to be a Tiger. Here's news. Keith says it sounds like I'm struggling. I am, dude. Galen says I completely disagree with HBP out. He's in the box and not extending his. Oh, so do I. That call was terrible. And then turn it around on Sunday to where it's a similar situation for Carolina where the guy kind of turns into it and takes it off the leg and he gets first base. At that point, the umpires were almost saying, guys, we already threw out their coach. We can't call this a strike as well. Terrible. Hey, I don't know if you're going to need it or not, but write this number down. Time to get caught up with your forecast. Here's WBRZ meteorologist Balin Rogers. I got to run upstairs during the next break and get my hard calendar. I think I screwed something up. Shoot. Oh. Phonetic pronunciation. .637, Talk 107.3 FM at WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. We're at 75 degrees in downtown Baton Rouge, though, as you heard from Balin, it ain't going to stay that way. All right. You ever have an issue that, like, everybody agrees on? Like, everyone just 100% consensus or as close as you're ever going to get, and yet somehow the needle can't get moved? This is where we're at with the AM Radio for Every Vehicle Act on a federal level. What is the AM Radio for Every Vehicle Act? Well, let's bring in Curtis LeGeyt from the National Association of Broadcasters to talk about it. Curtis, how are you this morning?
Hey, Brian, how are you?
So a big LSU national championship over the weekend. I could not be better, sir.
Well, I'm glad to hear it, and we've been following that pretty closely from afar. We know college baseball is the sport down there this time of year, so thrilled for you.
Appreciate that. Am I setting this up right? This seems like an issue that everybody always agrees on, but we can't move the needle for some reason. Tell me about the AM Radio for Every Vehicle Act.
Well, absolutely. What the bill does is it ensures that every newly manufactured automobile includes access to AM radio. It's a bit of a no-brainer issue, especially in times of emergency when other forms of communication fail. And you're right, it's brought together really strange bedfellows. The leads on this bill are Senator Ted Cruz, a conservative Republican from Texas, and Ed Markey, a liberal Democrat from Massachusetts. And what they've brought along with them is a filibuster-proof majority in the U.S. Senate, 61 co-sponsors supporting the bill in the Senate, and we just hit a milestone last week with more than a majority of the House of Representatives supporting the bill. So you're certainly correct about the fact that it's brought together some strange bedfellows here, especially in such a politically divisive time, supporting Congress acting on this issue. But there are some speed bumps here because of the fact that Congress is distracted with some bigger picture items. A bill they're trying to move through reconciliation that's now getting some consideration in the Senate. Obviously, there's a lot happening overseas right now that's taking up politicians' time. But I do think we're continuing to make real progress on this bill, and we're excited about it.
We're talking with Curtis LeGeyt from the National Association of Broadcasters about the AM Radio for Every Vehicle Act. Let's break down a couple of the questions here along the way, Curtis. First of all, what is the cost to the auto manufacturer to keep AM radio in every car?
Yeah, it's de minimis. I mean, you're talking about, the estimates range from $10 to $25 per automobile. You're just talking about some additional casing to ensure that the batteries, especially in electric vehicles, don't interfere with the AM radio signal. The auto manufacturers have put that out as a little bit of a red herring as to why they should leave radio out of the automobile altogether. But make no mistake about what's going on here. These auto manufacturers increasingly have every incentive to monetize every bit of what the consumer is doing in the car. So whether that's a new subscription service or it's getting your data, that's where the auto and the tech companies' incentives are in the car. And as you know well, radio sits outside of that, whether it's an FM station like yours or an AM station. It's freely available to all. It's locally focused, and we're doing something as a medium that the tech companies will never do. So this is not a matter of cost for the automakers. This is just one of public safety and putting consumers above their bottom lines.
Yeah, so we're on an FM station right now, but I've worked at an AM previously, and I know for a fact that like here in let's take where we are in Louisiana. When you're driving down I-10 or you're driving down I-12, you'll see those occasional blue signs that say hurricane evacuation route, tune into, and then wherever you are, it'll correspond with the station. Until all of those are FM stations or something else, there's an emergency factor to this that has to be considered.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Sometimes radio's taken for granted. We're really the first wireless technology. So as consumers are bending over backwards to get that new bright shiny object, I think radio oftentimes can be overlooked. But the reality here is there are still hundreds of millions of listeners across the country who rely on radio every day. More than 82 million of those rely on an AM station every month. So in that time of emergency, radio's got to reach. It's freely available to all, and it's really that lifeline when a hurricane hits, a wildfire, depending on your region of the country, whatever it is. We see that increased appreciation right now for radio. But even beyond that, there's another important point in times of emergency. The way that our emergency alerts are disseminated from FEMA, there is a daisy chain that actually starts with AM radio. So there are more than 70 stations across the country that are equipped to stay on the air, even in the worst of circumstances, for months on end. So they lose power, they lose signals. Those stations can stay on the air. Those are AM stations, and FEMA begins the daisy chain of emergency alerts with those stations. So whether you actually get an alert through your FM station or even through a television broadcast, that chain of communication starts with AM stations. So these stations need to remain viable, and this legislation will ensure that they do.
We're talking with Curtis LeGeyt from the National Association of Broadcasters about the AM Radio for Every Vehicle Act. Curtis, I want to bring the conversation over to the difference between urban versus rural here, because in an urban area, you're going to be flooded with FM stations, and of course, all the other trappings of forms of entertainment as well. But once you step outside the city limits, once you get out into the open, AM plays a different role.
You're exactly right about that. I think if we're having this debate in cities, certainly there is an appreciation for local radio, what we're doing, freely available, local focus that really no one else in media is doing right now. But in urban areas, your consumers, your listeners still have choices. You get out into some rural areas of the country, and the reach of AM radio is really unparalleled. And we see markets where literally a handful of radio stations are the only game in town for your entertainment, for your sports. But again, going back to this time of emergency, we saw with just the terrible flooding that took place, across the Southeast last year, there were entire communities that were effectively on an island, no wireless communications whatsoever for weeks. And it was those AM radio stations that were telling loved ones where they could find each other, telling their listeners how they could evacuate those areas that, really there was no food, no shelter. And so we're really proud of what our stations across the country are doing, and your rural communities are those that rely on these radio stations just disproportionately.
Oh, look, hey, and I've been in radio since '04, made my bones during Katrina, so I got to experience the effects firsthand with it as not just a means of entertainment or information, but direct communication as well. So we've seen it here, we've experienced it here for sure. We're talking with Curtis. Go ahead,
Brian. Let me add one more point. Because you mentioned Hurricane Katrina. One of the most significant partners in this effort is the current head of the National Urban League, Mark Morial, former mayor of New Orleans. And he talks about this based on his experience during Katrina and the outsized role that radio played in really helping guide your communities through that just unprecedented disaster. And so he's really been outspoken on behalf of cities across the country to say, this is a technology that we take for granted, but for mayors across the country, when that time of disaster hits, when your cell networks are down, everyone needs radio as that backbone, that lifeline.
Oh no, it was so real time, Curtis. It was so because I was just a lowly little call screener, and we were taking in calls, those calls that could get through because cell networks were so iffy. But those calls that could get through, we were taking calls in studio for people giving their addresses of where they were stuck in attics, feeding the information to the state police, who fed the information to National Guard, who like sent helicopters in to just rescue people in real time. It was a ridiculous scene, but I couldn't imagine losing that last line of defense.
Absolutely. So just to end this with the question you started on, we're going to keep this fight going. We are really feeling very encouraged by the fact that we've now got a majority of the House of Representatives as of Friday supporting this bill. And this is just a matter at this point of timing and getting House and Senate leadership to focus on bringing this bill to the floor. Speaker Mike Johnson, who you know well, has been a huge supporter of this issue in the past. I expect that he will give it due process once his committee reports it up to him. So we're really encouraged of where we are, and now we've just got to get it over the finish line.
Is there anybody from Louisiana who needs swaying, who needs a good talking to? I know Julia Letlow's a proponent of this one, and I'm pretty sure so is Congressman Carter from New Orleans.
Yes, Congressman Carter's been a supporter. As you point out, Letlow's been a supporter in the past. She's been terrific. I expect that she will support the bill again. But this is really going to be a matter in terms of getting it over the finish line of just getting attention in the House of Representatives with so much distraction. So for Speaker Johnson, for Leader Steve Scalise, I think just keeping this bill on their radar is incredibly important. We'll certainly be doing that on their end, but there's nothing like your local listeners reminding them of the importance of the legislation. Senator Kennedy is a co-sponsor of the bill, and we're continuing to work with Senator Cassidy. So I think you've got a really strong and supportive delegation here, but just given the limited bandwidth and the number of distractions in Washington, D.C. right now, we've got to keep this at the top of everyone's priority list.
Absolutely. He is Curtis LeGeyt from the National Association of Broadcasters, talking about AM Radio for Every Vehicle Act as it's looking to get a little bit more love, a little bit more priority. Curtis, I appreciate the time this morning.
Hey, thank you so much. Have a great morning, and congrats again on your win.
Thank you so much as well. It is coming up on 650 at Talk 107.3 FM. Before we hit your money now, I want to remind you about the folks at the Baton Rouge Metro Airport. FlyBTR.com is the website. FlyBTR.com. I was talking to somebody yesterday who had dropped somebody off at the airport. They were headed to Rome. No, you're not going to get a direct flight to Rome out of Baton Rouge, but you will get a flight to Atlanta and then to Rome from there. Think about that level of convenience. You don't think about like the transfer over to international travel, right? Think about that level of convenience to just swing on by. They're in our backyard. They are a local business. You don't have to haul an hour down the interstate. You don't have to pay those exorbitant parking fees. You don't have to go through that TSA maze. You get it taken care of right here. FlyBTR.com. Don't forget they get the daily flight to and from Reagan in D.C. FlyBTR.com. Here's your money now. All right, so that story right there, I want it featured, but I want Adeline to do it. I was supposed to take her to the press club today, but I've had some emergencies at the house that are going to redirect my efforts today. If anybody knows a plumber who can work for trade, I would love to meet them. Speaking of which, good morning, Christy. Didn't I say I was going to do something this break? Oh, go get my calendar. That doesn't sound like it's on the air. Are they fighting?
I don't really know. I don't know if that's a good yell or not.
.655 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane. Rolling right along. All right, thanks again to Curtis LeGeyt from the National Association of Broadcasters for stopping by. Important stuff. I mean, yes, we think about it in times of emergency as a fail-safe. It's one of those when all else fails, and we get it. We get it because we've seen the emergency firsthand. Now, we're at a 20th anniversary of that emergency, but we know all too well every generation gets a reminder there of why, for such a minimal cost, for something that even if you don't use it, to have it in your car is vital. I appreciate his time and his mission on that front, for that matter. Pivoting over here, and we're going to get back into, we'll talk some more LSU baseball next hour. We will talk some, we got Medical Monday coming up next hour. Rowdy Gaudet from LABI. He's not stopping by for the Metro Council. He's stopping by for his day job over at Lobby. Rowdy Gaudet is going to join us at 7:35. Talk about what Lobby's got on their calendar coming up. Moon Griffon at 8:15. Talk about everything under the sun with Moon. And then we're going to talk AI with Doug Kelly. Get back into another congressional discussion. What level of attention should Congress be paying to putting guardrails and restrictions on artificial intelligence? I am of the opinion, and I believe Doug is as well, that the less we do, the better. The greater the guardrails we put up, the more the rest of the world is going to lap us on this front. We'll talk with him towards the end of the show. Meanwhile, you heard the story from our news partners at Louisiana Radio Network. Gas prices were recently at a 4-year low before Memorial Day, but, man, they ticked back up a little bit. They might have a decent surge on the way because of the escalating tensions, because of the attacks between Israel and Iran. Patrick DeHaan is a petroleum analyst for Gas Buddy. He says for now, gas prices are on a solid upward trend for the next few weeks.
How much more or how long they could go up really contingent on the developing situation. Will the U.S. get involved in Iran? That could push oil and gasoline prices up more substantially.
The U.S. is involved in Iran after the weekend. So what will the extent of that involvement be? What will Iran's return volley towards us be? And it's not just gas. I mean, diesel's going up more than gas. Dahan says the reason for that is diesel inventory is nearly 20% below the 20-year average.
Diesel prices likely to jump by a total of 15 to 40 cents from this situation in the Middle East, whereas gasoline may rise 10 to 20 cents.
And it doesn't sound like a whole lot, 10 to 20 cents, when you look at where gas prices were 3 years ago, 4 years ago. 10 to 20 cents doesn't sound like a whole lot, but when you look at the overall equation of your own personal economy, that's huge. We are not, and when I say we, I don't mean like you individually or me individually. I just mean overall. We are not keeping up with pace. Even as inflation started to curb and curtail, it's not like we were all making a ton more money on the back end to keep up with it. So something like gas jumping by 20 cents a gallon, it hurts. Now, that being said, even where they're at, we're still cheaper than a year ago, much less 2, but look for that climb to continue as the summer wears on.
I do not think for now that we'll hit $3. No record-setting prices anticipated yet.
But keep one eye on Israel and Iran, or the U.S. and Iran. And for that matter, where are we going there? Where is that going? I was reading in the USA Today about how what's the possible payback going to be from Tehran? As they say, everything's on the table. What does that actually mean for us here in the United States? We're coming up on 7 o'clock at Talk 107.3. Hour 2 is next. Mom. And that's where you lost me. Okay. We're going to flip up 755, make it 1.3, and then I'm forwarding you another piece of audio real quick. Lee in college? Wait, what in college? What in college? Perkins. Okay. .705 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. Hour 2 coming your way right now. John, did you get a name?
Oh man, I didn't get his name.
Oh, nuts. Well, shout out to the caller who just called in to let us know. A little traffic addendum there. We are being told in real time here. No, and I mean like literally just got off the phone. So no time to verify beyond. But we're told that the traffic lights are out. Perkins at College or Perkins at Lee, depending on which side of that intersection you were on. So add to your Monday morning nightmare. It's not a nightmare yet. Shouldn't say that. But add to the stress of the work week beginning with traffic lights being out at Perkins at College. If you can avoid the intersection, please do so. We got a lot of ground to cover this hour. We got Medical Monday coming up 10 minutes from right now. We got Rowdy Gaudet, not from Metro Council, but from his day job over at LABI. I'm going to talk about their upcoming calendar. Legislative sessions in the books, so lobby moves forward. We'll talk with Rowdy coming up at 7:35. And then at 7:55, we're going to go ahead and dig into Coastal Carolina's coach getting a boot yesterday. Was it premature? Would it have mattered? What were your takeaways when it happened? And then when you heard his comments after the fact. We'll talk about that later on. Right now, though, top stories and trending. Let's get it. Get it. Get it.
Number 5.
Louisiana leaders gave their thoughts after the United States struck Iranian nuclear sites on Saturday. No real shocker here. Everyone but Cleo Fields and Troy Carter thought it was the right call.
Number 4.
A federal appeals court ruled Friday that a Louisiana law that puts the 10 Commandments up in public schools cannot be enforced. 3 judges from the 5th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals said the law, which took effect on January 1st, is, quote, plainly unconstitutional, and they upheld a ruling by a lower court barring the law from being enforced. AG Liz Murrell's office says they are going to take this argument to the next level, U.S. Supreme Court, if necessary.
Number 3.
Iberville Parish has been awarded a $900,000 federal grant to clear fallen trees and storm-related debris from 23 miles of Bayou Grosse Tate. This is John Clark, director of Iberville Parish's Environmental Department, said the funding comes through the Department of Natural Resources and Conservation. The project aims to remove an estimated 353 fallen trees and other obstructions that restrict water flow and impact the bayou's navigatability.
Number 2.
We've got our first X of the season on the hurricane map. As of now, a disturbance in the Atlantic. We got new numbers at 7 o'clock. I should check this out before I read the story. Okay. A disturbance in the Atlantic has a 70% chance of forming into a named storm over the next 7 days. Now, it has 0 chance of affecting us. If it does become a named storm, it will be Andrea.
Number 1.
One woman was killed. 5 others were wounded when gunfire erupted near a nightclub called the Big Blue House on South Choctaw Drive early Sunday morning. Police detained at least 3 people, but have not yet filed charges. Investigators also recovered about 160 shell casings, 8 vehicles, and at least 6 firearms. Reports are this started as a fistfight and escalated from there. What's trending, John?
Well, Donald Trump's decision to strike 3 nuclear targets in Iran over the weekend continues to garner reaction.
So, it's the reaction we're waiting on, though, is what's to come from Iran. Yeah. That's the hard part, right?
It is. How they're going to, they're saying, they will retaliate. So
yeah, and they say everything's
look like?
And when they say everything's on the table,
Yeah.
And we all know Iran sponsors terrorism, like, Iran's. I'm not going to finish that analogy because it's going to make everybody look bad.
Right.
It like fill in the blank sponsors fill in the blank. I have the analogy in my head. I just don't want to associate any company with that. So we'll move on. I had the punchline. I don't want to say it out loud.
I understand. In other news, Elon Musk has made it official. Tesla is now in the robotaxi business and will be rolling out autonomous cabs later this year.
Can't do it.
No, not going to get in an autonomous cab.
No, I don't care how cheap. $420, by the way.
Yeah.
So
right.
Okay. The problem I have with an autonomous cab is you see where AI is right now with the hallucinations.
Yes.
AI will just make bleep up out of nowhere from time to time. What happens if the map that is installed is not 100% accurate? What happens if you plug in, like, you need to go to XYZ address, and let's just say that address is across the river. And instead of taking a bridge, they take you down a boat launch.
Okay.
You're headed to the other side of the river, aren't you?
Right. These are things to worry about. These are legitimate fears.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I realize, paranoid. I understand that. You're making fun of me, and that's fine.
No.
You're making fun of me, that's fine.
I'm not. I'm dead serious. I think that's a lot of people's concern, right? Because how much trouble do we have with GPSs that we can control?
Correct.
That we know roads, where this leads. Okay, I know that road's out. I know I can't go there. And the GPS will tell you, no, go down this way. Make a U-turn.
Right.
Go back. Who's to say the same is not for a vehicle that's in control and you have no control?
You can't, you can't use your own human intuition to say, maybe I should stop it back up.
Exactly.
I'm using an extreme example, though.
No, but an example nonetheless that I think, people are afraid. Like, this is new. Hey, the final tally from Rocco's in Omaha. LSU did not break the record from 2 years ago, but did annihilate the competition in the Jello Shot Challenge with 52,390 shots purchased.
It's a lot. It's a lot of Jello. It's a lot of Jello. 52,390. The next closest competitor was Coastal Carolina, which you'd expect because they made it the longest, right? The teams that are there the longest are going to finish 1 and 2. One would hope.
Yes.
Right? 9,117 for Coastal. Nobody else finished in 5 figures. We had 52,390, which is a stupid number. So Coastal has 9,117, Arkansas 9,075, and then it just trickles down from there. By the way, for those that think this is gluttonous, for those that think this is a waste, nobody actually takes all the shots. And for every $5 shot, $1.50 gets donated to charity. $1 goes to a food bank in the town that is listed. For example, the Greater Baton Rouge Food Bank going to get $1. Going to get $52,390 out of this. Meanwhile, 50 cents goes back to the food bank in Omaha. Yeah. So $1.50 out of every one of these is going to good use here, and not just bacchanalian enjoyment of a sideshow from the College World Series. I'll take them both though. So, all right, we're at 7:13 already at Talk 107.3 FM. Tell you what, let's take a quick break. When we come back, we have got Medical Monday coming up next. Dr. Tiffany Ardwan is going to join us.
Let's see. I think I might have been her calling, but when I answered, I got nothing. So hopefully she calls back. Lobby. Tiffany. What was it? Tiffany. There she is. Studio. Oh, no, this is John, producer here. All right. Yes, ma'am. All right. No problem. All right. Good morning. Yes, ma'am. We're looking to have you up here in about another minute, if that's okay. All right. Sounds good. Thank you.
That'll work. Yes, it's time for Medical Monday, and this week we're talking about the Go Get Healthy program. Of course, Go spelled G-E-A-U-X. We welcome in Dr. Tiffany Ardwan with us. Dr. Ardwan, welcome back. How are you this morning?
Good morning. I'm great. Thank you for having me, and go Tigers.
Yeah, absolutely. Big Go Tigers today for sure. Let's start off with the basics. Tell us all about the Go Get Healthy program and your role in it.
So the program is a program that provides cooking classes, nutrition classes, grocery store tours for people in the community for free. And it started about 5 years ago, and the idea started a little bit before that when I was in residency and becoming concerned about patients not following my nutrition recommendations. And after doing a formal evaluation to learn more about why and figuring out that I was pretty naive, I discovered that there was a vast need for more nutrition education, and I learned a lot more about food insecurity myself and the inability for our patients to access healthy foods in Baton Rouge. So after that, I started talking with local leaders in Healthy BR, our LeGeyt, American Heart Association, and we created some impactful, measurable programming that provided a more structured program to some of the ongoing resources that we already had in the community through some community-based organizations addressing food insecurity. And it was also a really great program that tied the community and the hospital system together to really meet people where they are.
Okay, you said cooking classes. What was the second part?
Cooking classes, nutrition classes, and grocery store tours.
Okay, we got to touch on the grocery store tours.
Grocery store tours, and we have 2 locations that we currently offer our classes and our cooking classes and our grocery store tours. The 2 places we do our grocery store tours are at Sprouts Farmers Market, and the other one is actually at Dollar General that has fresh produce within it that sits just in front of our LeGeyt North campus. So it's pretty remarkable that we're able to provide that nutrition education to people who sometimes we're some of our patients, the only place that they can get transportation to that Dollar General, and that's where, because it's in front of our health care system and that local clinic, so that's where the only access they have to food in that area, because in that area it is considered a food desert.
Okay. All right. That actually makes more sense when you explain it that way. It's on the front end, it doesn't hit the ear the right way. But if your only access is to Dollar General, then yeah, knowing how to find something there would be a good thing. That actually moves the conversation over to food insecurity. How does this program address that issue? And you mentioned food deserts. Talk about how this program addresses that issue in those areas specifically.
Yeah, so we now welcome anyone who wants to participate, but we do specifically focus on connecting food insecure community members to that nutrition education and affordable food and healthy resources. It's crucial for those residents who live in food deserts, which are areas without access to food, specifically healthy food, or even residents who live in what's called food swamps, which are areas without access to healthy foods with an additional influx of unhealthy foods with businesses such as fast food restaurants. It's important to help those community members figure out how to get access to healthy foods, whether that's, how to make better choices with what they have, or how to use local delivery services or other things to be able to have that access to healthy foods.
We're talking with Dr. Tiffany Ardwan from Our Lady of the Lake about the Go Get Healthy program. All right, let's talk about making those choices here. You got cooking classes, you got nutrition classes, and the grocery store tours. How do these things help people, help families, help patients make lasting changes to their health?
So nutrition education is paramount to making healthy choices for you and your family. And this education fosters a fun learning environment with our own Go Get Healthy community and family. So not only do people learn more about ways they can take charge of their nutrition to have some control over their health, but they inherit a family of people, both Go Get Healthy staff and fellow class goers to support them. Our community outreach coordinators, Alexis and Entries, are making huge changes in our community. They're amazing at what they do, and they really put their heart and soul into this work, and they really are making a healthier community.
How much of this is about, okay, I feel like I know the answer to the question, but this three-pronged approach here is the grocery store tour is the how, the nutrition classes are the why, the cooking classes kind of blend the two together to make sure that you can have healthy without losing the flavorful. Is that about right?
That's right. We want to provide the nutrition education in a way that is, really transmitting the information to people. This is what you need to do to have healthier food. But we also want to allow people to put it in action and have some active learning, and to teach them as they are implementing some of those nutrition lessons into how to use those cooking skills to create a healthy dish, and how to make, simple swaps if they don't like certain ingredients, or, healthier swaps instead of sodium, flavoring the dish with different spices. So things like that can really help really get those teaching lessons really hammered in, to allow people to incorporate this into everyday practice, and also allow them to ask specific questions to what they do day in and day out, and specifically tailor that nutrition education to each family.
Yeah, I mean, because you can have all the tools, all the weapons in the arsenal you want. If it doesn't taste good, I don't know how many people are actually going to get on board.
That's very true, especially with our Louisiana culture and our fantastic food. It's very challenging sometimes to make those changes when you're used to things that are very high in sodium, high in fat. But there are some simple changes that can go a long way.
Coming up on 5 years here for the Go Get Healthy program. I tell you what, before we get to what 5 years means to you, let's talk about numbers and why you believe programs like this are so critical to improving healthy outcomes across the community.
So improving health in a community setting takes the collaboration of healthcare systems and community-based organizations and the people in the community. And I think this program truly brings healthcare to people where they are based on what they're telling us they need. And it's been a great example of collaboration in the Baton Rouge community, bringing forth many partnerships and working towards one common goal, which is health through nutrition, education, and access to healthy food.
So you do have this milestone coming up, 5 years. What does this mean for you?
The anniversary celebration is a testament to our program's success and ongoing commitment to improving community health. And getting a program like this off the ground was challenging, and to grow it into what it is now has been amazing to be a part of. It's a very good feeling to be able to celebrate this milestone and acknowledge all of the people who made this possible over the years, and to recognize the lives impacted by this work.
Talk about those lives. Talk about what kind of impact you've seen over the past 5 years. And by the way, we're talking with Dr. Tiffany Hardwan from Our Lady of the Lake about the Go Get Healthy program. I don't, it's got to be difficult to, or is it difficult to measure success, to have a definitive ROI there? So talk to me a little bit about the lives that have been impacted.
So this is a part of why I got into this work, is because I think it's very important to have measurements and to figure out, these programs that make a lot of people feel good that we're doing something good for the community. But, like you said, what is that ROI? What are we getting from it? And so we have affiliated research studies looking at some of these outcomes. To date, we've had over 600 people enroll into our program, and we've demonstrated tangible improvements in food insecurity scores, tangible improvements in nutrition behaviors, and improvements in depression scores. That's all been published in the literature. We've also done studies to look at cost effectiveness of the program, and we know exactly how many people we need to enroll to come out net even with our costs. So we consistently, shoot above that. And then we're also currently working on a publication to show improvement in waist circumference and other metabolic parameters like blood sugars and cholesterol and things like that.
You got an event coming up on Saturday. Tell me about it.
The celebration will take place from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. this Saturday at Our Lady of the Lake North on Airline Highway. It is open to the public, so please come out. It's a great opportunity for community members to learn more about our program and its impact. We'll be serving food, we'll have health screenings, activities for all ages, including cooking demonstrations, a bounce house, a DJ. There's going to be a lot of local leaders there. It's going to be a lot of fun, so we hope you can join us.
Talk about the event itself, but the overall program for those who want to take part, whether they want to attend a class or just want to learn more. How can they get started?
So you can visit our website at OLOLRMC.com/GGH, or check out our Instagram and Facebook pages, Go Get Healthy at Our Lady of the Lake, for more information.
I got just a couple more for Dr. Tiffany Hardwan with Our Lady of the Lake, talking about the Go Get Healthy program. I want to go back to that success question and ask, what are ultimate goals here? What is it? What does an overall crossing of the finish line look like for Baton Rouge?
So I'm the type of person that never quite has the finish line, because once I meet that expectation, there's a new one.
Yes.
But our goal is to keep growing and to keep incorporating new groups of class goers. We recently started offering classes that are more focused on children, even though they've always been family friendly, but we have kid friendly knives and incorporation of some nutrition education games, and really just expanding our reach to children, not only in our structured class settings, but we're actually looking to get into local high schools as well. And so that's where we've seen the most recent need for our services, but we're always doing some assessments to see where we can be the best utilized and really make the biggest impact. So one step at a time, but I think there's always another step to be had, and just figuring out what that next step is when we're ready each time, I think is the way to have successful impact.
Talk about that high school impact, because I think that would be an important part of this whole thing. Our early adaptation is always going to be, always going to be a driver here. How important is that, and where's the focus there?
Oh, yeah. Most of our nutrition education in America is in middle school, high school. I remember when I was in school, it was, the food pyramid. Now it's My Plate. But those USDA dietary recommendations, that's where we get our nutrition education. And then after that, it kind of falls off unless you go into some nutrition-related major, if you go to college or whatnot. But I think it's so important because, yes, parents do typically do the grocery shopping and the preparing of food for families, But often it's the kids that help to inform those choices that the parents make as far as what they purchase at the grocery store. If they're hearing their children come to them, home to them from school and talking about what they learn nutrition wise, or even better, if they get involved in the kitchen, cooking with their families and making it a family oriented thing, to prepare food and have a healthy relationship with food and have fun with eating healthy food options, it can be extremely impactful. And so reaching those high school students to have that impact and really help to shape nutrition from both sides, the parents and the kids, is a great way to do it. But also there are some, families where those high school students are taking on more responsibilities because of the stressors at home, and they may be the ones that are doing the grocery shopping and that are doing the preparing the meals for the family. So that could be make an even bigger impact.
I got 2 minutes left with Tiffany Ardwan from Our Lady of the Lake. I don't want to get political in this segment. Absolutely do not want to get political. But with things like the Maha movement, do you feel like there's kind of a groundswell that can help your message on a larger scale?
Absolutely. The Maha movement can be beneficial in the highlight that it gives to eating healthy foods and really making that, trendy to eat healthy.
Right.
And to recognize how important nutrition is for our health, and to focus more on preventative medicine and looking at health care instead of sick care. So I do think that that's a really important aspect, and I do think we can ride that wave and ensure that we're focusing on some of the parts of that movement that can promote those healthy behaviors and really get everyone back on track with nutrition. I'll be brief with that and just say
there's
that,
no. I just meant from the dietary end of it. I just meant from the dietary end of it. There's something to be taken away there. Hey, before we get you out of here, give me that elevator pitch. What's the message to the community about why now is the time to go get healthy?
So it's always a good time to go get healthy, whether that be for yourself or your family. It doesn't have to be perfect, but learning more and taking that first step to have better nutrition is the most important part. So if you're at all interested, please reach out and we'd be happy to have you.
Dr. Tiffany Ardwan, I'm going to drop you back on hold. I want to talk to you during the break, but thank you so much for the time.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. We're coming up on 7:30 at Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. We're going to talk with Rowdy Gaudet from LABI. Next, right now, it's time for news. We'll start with ABC. Before we hit our local news, traffic and weather on Talk 107.3. Dr. Ardwan? Hey, I left the talking points way behind right there, but you were awesome. This is a topic that I'm always interested in. It's one that I have a very personal interest in. So thank you for taking some room to run with me and have fun with it. Yeah. Well, it's one that I think hits Baton Rouge a lot hard. I don't think we all realize, from a very cold number standpoint, I don't think we realize the economic impacts of where we are from a health perspective in not just South Louisiana, but specifically Baton Rouge. When that term food swamp started coming up, food desert, we're getting somewhere, but we're getting somewhere where we can stuff our face, and that's about it. So. Well, I didn't want you to think I was running you down a political end with the Maha thing, because no. Well, what I find hilarious as a lifelong Republican, what I find hilarious is that now you have ardent Donald Trump supporters are out there supporting the same school lunch program that Michelle Obama pitched 15 years ago. Yes, to say the least. So anyway, I appreciate you taking some room to run and having some fun with it. Thank you. All right, I just sent you the audio for 7:55. So it's going to go 1.3 and then this. And we're going to cut 1.3 off earlier. I'll let you know where to cut 1.3 off when we're playing it. All right, time to get a look at your forecast. Here is WBRZ meteorologist Balin Rogers. Oh. $7:37. Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. Time to get caught up with the folks over at the Louisiana Association of Business and Industry. For that, we turn to Rowdy Gaudet. Rowdy, how are you, man?
Hello, Brian. I'm doing very well. How are you this morning?
I'm doing very well as well. Great to have you on to talk about your day job, right?
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. Can we start with what our whole state is celebrating today with the Tigers' big win?
I see no way that we could start anywhere else.
Look, I did want to say, I mean, I'm as excited as everybody else to have our championship team come back, welcome them back. Excited to put another 2025, put another date up on that Intimidator in Alex Box Stadium. But I just wanted to say I've had an opportunity to meet Coach Jay Johnson, have dinner with him and his family, and what a quality person he is, and how blessed we are to have him as a head coach. That the coaching team that surrounds him, you could see from the way those players spoke yesterday in the post-game press conference, the humble nature with which they talk about their coaching staff, the way they talk about how those coaches mentor them. we are truly blessed. So look, I'm excited that we have champions who are going to come back and celebrate them. I can't get over the fact that we have such quality human beings and individuals who are leading that storied program at LSU. So just wanted to make that point as we kick it off.
Why? And you're talking about two completely different teams out of the last, between 23 and 25. Two completely different teams, two completely different makeups of teams. Net result the same. This tells me that when you're,
that's right.
When you look at someone like Jay Johnson, he's adaptable. He's malleable. It's not one blueprint, my way or the highway. He's here to he's here to put up wins, to be sure, but he's here to do it in a way that makes sure the program always stays top of mind and not just him.
That's right, and you always use sports analogies when you're presenting on different topics, and certainly at Lobby, we can use the sporting analogies about the leadership it takes, the mentorship it takes, and so I'll use that to segue as the Tigers end their season of baseball. For us at Lobby and on the tail end of a legislative session, we enter what we call our event season, and so coming off the heels of a successful legislative session. What we do at Lobby now is spend the next several months hopping around the state, connecting with our member organizations, connecting with local chambers and other business organizations, and keeping the business community both informed and engaged about the work that Lobby does. And most importantly, as we go around the regions of the state, hearing from those different regions with their various interests and various needs on what's important to them. So what I wanted to highlight, if that's okay with you today, is just a few of those events that we're going to be having over the next few months.
Yeah, go for it.
All right. Well, first I'm going to talk about an event that's actually not until November. It's called our Business Excellence Awards, but I bring it up first because we are opening up nominations today for our Business Excellence Awards. So we honor businesses and business owners across the state who are making a difference in their communities, making a difference in the state. We use this opportunity to honor job creators. And so later today on our website and on our social media, we'll be launching the nomination process for Lobby's Business Excellence Awards. We've got 9 different categories. We honor companies, we honor business people, and it culminates with what we call our Ed Steimel Achievement Award. Ed Steimel was the first executive director, CEO of Lobby 50 years ago, and so we honor a longstanding member who's provided a lot of service to Lobby and across the state. So we open up those nominations today. The nomination period will run through August 15th, and we couldn't be more excited. We host that event here in Baton Rouge. We get businesses and business owners from across the state to come in, and like I said, we spend a lot of time recognizing them. Go ahead.
I was going to say a couple of the highlights from last year were because you get the Ed Steimel Achievement Award. That's the big prize right there. But the awards, the way they break down the rest of the way through, like Business Person of the Year, which you've also got Young Business Person of the Year, which I believe Kenny Wynn took that one home last year.
That's correct.
And then when it comes to you got Large Company of the Year, Large Manufacturer, and then Small Company, Small Manufacturer. So look, Louisiana, they say small business is the backbone of the American economy. That is so exacerbated here in Louisiana, which is why I love that y'all differentiate between the two, because all the players in the game need to be saluted for who they are.
Yeah, that really is who Lobby is. I mean, we're a member-driven organization, and the reality is the majority of Lobby's members are small and medium-sized businesses. There may be a perception there that we're the large companies across the state, but like I said, the numbers and the data shows that the majority of our members are small to medium-sized businesses. So, it's with purpose that we recognize Company of the Year, and we make sure that that's less than 100 employees, a smaller company of the year, so that we can honor those members as well, who, like I said, they're making a difference in their communities, making a difference in our state. Look, the other thing that we do in traveling across the state, we call it our regional rallies, and this is essentially we want to go across the state, again, connecting with local businesses, local chambers, but honoring those legislators who were pro-business, who voted pro-business during the legislative session. So in the months of September and October, We go around to each region of the state, Shreveport, Tahoma, here in Baton Rouge. We're in Southwest Louisiana. And we do events where we honor those legislators, we recognize them, and then again we use those opportunities to hear from local communities about, look, what's important to you. Let's talk about what happened in the legislative session. Let's recognize these legislators, and then let's hear from you, local communities. What's important to you? What's important to your businesses? And we can carry that message back as Lobby continues its work for policy within the state capitol.
We're talking with Rowdy Gaudet from the Louisiana Association of Business and Industry. Let's talk about these rallies a little bit and what has come from them in the past. Has it been just a celebration of what was, or do you get a good sense of where the next legislative session is going based off of these?
Well, it's all of that, right? I mean, the purpose, as you well know, I mean, you've come to our annual meeting every year for probably the past 3, 4, maybe 5 years.
Yep.
That event is more than just, look, let's put 1,000 people in a room and have a prominent speaker. That event is about making connections, building relationships, talking about the issues that are important. And that's essentially what these regional rallies are, just on a smaller scale. And we're going around to these various communities across the state. So that's what it is. It's about building relationships. We share the real-time updates about business policy and the policy that's going on within the Capitol. And like I said, most importantly, when we're there, we want to make sure we at Lobby we're remaining in tune with the evolving needs of business leaders in those various regions. So that's what these events are truly about. We get out of Baton Rouge, we go into the various areas of the state. Like I said, we connect with the local chambers who are tremendous partners for Lobby. They keep us well informed. They're great in helping spread the message of the pro-business policy. And so again, it's connecting with them and just building those relationships.
And those rallies start right here in Baton Rouge, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, we kick it off in Baton Rouge. We tried to do that last year, but some hurricane, a little weather interrupted that. But we're going to kick it off this year in Baton Rouge. We get over to New Orleans. We get up to Central Louisiana. So, like I said, we hit every single region of the state as we get through the month of October. And that gets us then into November, which is that Business Excellence Awards that I highlighted up front. And then the last thing I'll talk about, Brian, as long as I have some time, is in December is our Golden Gala. So Lobby this year is celebrating our 50th year as the business organization, the State's Chamber of Commerce, the State's Manufacturing Association in Louisiana. So to honor and recognize that 50th year, we've planned a signature event at the end of the year, called it our Golden Gala. It's going to be here in Baton Rouge at the Capitol Park Museum. Those tickets are on sale. We got sponsorships available. It's going to be a really, really phenomenal event. And again, recognizing the history of Lobby, the achievements that have happened over the last 50 years. We're going to honor those who have sat in that CEO and executive director position over the years. It's 4 people to date. I'm going to recognize them. So just a really tremendous event that we're planning. And again, if folks are interested in it, want to learn more about it, we've got that information on our website. Signature sponsor there is Royal Martin. Couldn't be more excited to have them come on board. So we're really looking forward to celebrating in December and putting that event together.
Got just a couple minutes left with Rowdy Gaudet from LABI. I'll learn more about your state's Chamber of Commerce at labi.org. Rowdy, I want to ask you about, normally there's a balance of getting into election season a little bit as well. This is kind of I don't want to say a down year, but there's not a whole lot on the ballots this fall, is there?
Yeah, no, I mean, we're not looking at a heavy ballot like we have in the past, but, Lobby operates our political action committees. We do get involved. We certainly want to support those folks who are running, who are seeking office, who are friendly with the business community, who want to see pro-business policy. So we continue those efforts, but yeah, this year is not as active of a season. But like I said, where we're celebrating both the legislative wins from this most recent legislative session, talking about, okay, then what's the future hold for future legislative sessions and policy. We also had that additional Lobby 50th year this year. So we're going to spend some time putting out some information about that. and celebrating at the end of the year with the Golden Gala. So we're couldn't be more excited about all the events that we have coming up, Brian. And look, we appreciate all that you do to help us spread the message and get the word out. It's a pleasure to come on the program every week and talk to you about the work that's going on.
Always, always. Love the partnership, love the mission. He is Rowdy Gaudet from the Louisiana Association of Business and Industry. We'll talk to you soon, man. Thanks so much.
All right, thanks for the time, man. Talk soon.
Yep, gotcha. We're at 7:49 at Talk 107.3 FM at WBRP. We got Your Money Now coming up in 1 minute. Do need to remind you about the folks over at Landmark Bank. LandmarkBankLA.com is the website. LandmarkBankLA.com. You know, I was actually talking about them. The wife and I are having discussions right now about whether or not our house is 60 years old, right? And the to-do list is just starting to stack up a little bit. And we're like, is it time to go start talking with somebody about a HELOC? Start doing some work on our house to bring it back up to speed, whether you're talking about plumbing, whether you're talking about, fixing up the exterior, due for a paint job, those sorts of things. When that to-do list starts to stack up a little bit, where do you turn? Well, how about LandmarkBankLA.com? You'll find them in the surrounding areas, Zachary, Clinton, Brewley, Denham. But the important part here is you'll have someone along the way who can help you work towards your goals. Don't just get a bank, get a banker. LandmarkBankLA.com. Oh. Advocate says, weak. I just knew we'd beat the record. Yeah, I thought so too, man. If it had gone a third game, we might have. Great job on the milk carton yesterday. By the way, 929misfits.com. 929misfits.com if you want that t-shirt. By the way, you can talk 1073 merchandise at 929misfits.com as well, if you so wanted to. I'm supposed to be pushing, like, making shirts and whatnot. The most recent one, there's actually a shirt with me and Moon standing on it. It's so stupid. There's also the Haldane Griffon 24 shirt was really, really good. We got to push that back out again for midterms. It's a good looking shirt. I get top billing too, making Moon my VP. But I think we're going to do one with the baby Moon and baby me. Yeah. I don't know who's buying them. I don't know. The Haldane Griffon campaign shirt is like, I really, really liked it. The one with me and Moon standing on them, if you bought that, oh my God, I love you so much. It's like $40. So yeah, the long and the short of it is, we're deep into the merch business, but it's all sports. It's all it's a little bit Eagle, but a lot of it ESPN, because there's always something to push on a T-shirt on ESPN. There's not always something to push on a T-shirt with this show.
For sure.
Although I do want a Let's Get Granular shirt.
And Rolling Right Along has to be a shirt.
Do what?
Rolling Right Along has to
Rolling
be a
Right
shirt.
Along's gonna be a shirt. You're right. 7:55, Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP, mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. We got ABC News coming your way in 4.5 minutes from right now. That is enough time for us to dive back into yesterday's national championship game. First inning, bleep went down, y'all. I tell you what, let's hear the call from Chris Blair and Doug Thompson on the LSU Sports Radio Network as Coastal Carolina's coach got the boot.
I believe there was a pitch clock violation on the hitter, Mitchell. And Coach Schnall out there. Now he's been tossed.
Wow.
Whoa, my. Home plate umpire, Angel Campos, said, nope, not today. And now Schnall going to chase him to the right side of home plate. A couple of other colleagues come in, trying to separate him. Now Schnall just threw one of the umpires down on the ground.
I don't believe what we're watching.
They're going to need security here. Wow.
Okay, that was the first reaction. Upon review, it was clear that the guy fell over. But when you got the coach, when you got roided up Bert Kreischer chasing down an umpire, that would be the initial reaction. By the way, Chris Blair on the call from the LSU Sports Radio Network. The moment when the guy first went down, that was my reaction as well. But when you saw the replay, it's like, no, his dumb butt just fell over. Okay, here's the thing. When that went down in real time, I think a lot of fans thought, man, that was a quick trigger by the umpire right there. I think a lot of fans thought that, dude, I don't think he deserved that quickly like that. But I got to ask, and I want your feedback over on Facebook Live, our Facebook Live coverage presented by Lake Urgent Care every single day. Has your opinion of this changed or evolved as things have transpired? For example, when you heard Coach Schnall in the post-game press conference take zero accountability for his actions, did that change the way you felt? In fact, let's go ahead and hear what Coach Schnall had to say when asked about it after the game.
Noah Beanick, 11.7. Coach, the 28th pitch of the first inning, were you warned prior to it? And then I know the home plate umpire kind of turned his back and walked away. Were any words shared from him to you afterwards?
There's 25,000 people there, and I vaguely hear a warning issued.
Pause. I vaguely hear a warning issued, which means he heard a warning issued. To say vaguely right there means you're trying to discredit it or put it down when you know damn well you heard it. Okay, return.
There's 25,000 people there, and I vaguely hear a warning issued. As the head coach, I was assistant for 24 years, and as an assistant, you're almost treated like a second level citizen, and you can't say a word. Now as a head coach, I think it is your right to get an explanation of why we got warned. And I'm 48 years old. I shouldn't get shooed by another grown man, right? So when I come out to ask what the warning is, a grown man shooed me. So at that point, I can now hear him say, it was a warning issued for arguing balls and strikes. And at that point, I said, because you missed 3.
How about zero accountability right there? How about being given the opportunity to win over the hearts and minds of the entire college baseball nation and deciding to say, you think you're better than me? How about showing off an unbelievable inferiority complex right there? I mean, I was on his side. I thought the trigger was pulled too quickly until after the fact, and you learn if this is this guy's personality, the ump knew what was coming on the front end. Boy, he did nothing to help himself right there. 8 o'clock, hour 3's next. In the words of Garth Algar, if he were an ice cream flavor, he'd be pralines and dick. Matt says, as the times of the games, I was happy, got to watch when didn't have to stay up till 11 or 12, wait till the next day to find out what happened. By the way, I want more credit for roided up Bert Kreischer. I really like there's a few jokes in life where I pat myself on the back.
Yeah.
Roided up Bert Kreischer is one of them. bum, 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 bum. .806 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. We're starting your third hour off at 80 degrees in downtown Baton Rouge. Brian here with you. John LeBuff producing. Nowhere near slowing down. We talk about everything under the sun with Moon coming up about 9 minutes from right now. 8:35. Doug Kelly's going to join us. Who is Doug Kelly? Well, I'm glad you asked that question. I'm happy to tell you. Doug Kelly is the CEO of American Edge, promoting American innovation and protecting our tech edge. We're talking about AI. And what should Congress be doing to put up the guardrails to make sure we're protecting ourselves from ourselves when it comes to AI? My take is not a whole lot, if I can quote Coastal Carolina. And I'm guessing that's going to be his take as well. Like, how much oversight should there be? Because for every ounce of restriction, it is going to be an area that we can't excel, where another nation is going to pass us up on this front. We'll talk with Doug Kelly at 8:35. Right now, though, you know how we start off the third hour. This day in history.
All right.
Yeah?
Here we go.
Let's go.
1888, Frederick Douglass is the first African-American to be nominated for vice president.
Really?
That happened today.
Yeah. Good stuff.
1939, U.S. Congress establishes U.S. Coast Guard Reserve, renamed U.S. Coast Guard Auxiliary 1941.
Ooh.
Yeah, so that as well. 1947, U.S. President Truman's veto of Taft-Hartley Act, restricting the power of trade union, is overridden by Congress and becomes law.
Okay.
Yeah. 1972 here, U.S. President Nixon and his chief of staff, H. Haldeman, agrees to use CIA to cover up Watergate.
Yeah, that wasn't a good move.
No, indeed it wasn't. 72
No.
Hurricane
They
Agnes.
always tell you it's not the scandal, it's the cover-up.
Yes.
And it was definitely the cover-up here for sure.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely it was. Let's see. 72, Hurricane Agnes becomes America's costliest natural disaster, affecting 15 states with 119 deaths and $3 billion in damage. Man.
Well, that would be dwarfed.
Yeah.
That'd be dwarfed in 2005, wouldn't it?
Right. Yeah, exactly. 1980, David Letterman show debuts on NBC.
Okay.
Yeah. Speaking of debuts, 2022, The Bear.
You ever watch old Letterman?
Yeah, sometimes
it was a
it'll come up in
completely different vibe.
Oh, yeah, for sure. For sure. Yeah, for some reason, sometimes it'll be, the algorithm will hit me with a bunch of,
yeah,
really old David Letterman interviews,
Some
with
of
everyone from.
like Michael Keaton.
Yeah, Michael Keaton.
Oh,
yeah.
man. Yeah.
There's like a Ted Nugent one that I constantly see. For some reason, it just keeps coming up. And speaking of Michael Keaton, yeah, I believe today also Batman, the first Batman.
No kidding.
Yep.
All right.
Today as well. Anything else on this day? Whoop.
No, I'm way behind
Dropping
today,
everything.
so I don't even have anything yet.
All right, no problem. Let's see. Moving on to birthdays.
Sure.
Let's see here. I feel like I'm behind as well. It's just that Monday feeling, Randy Jackson today.
Okay.
From American Idol, of course.
Yeah.
Let's see who else we have here. Also, musician Jason Mraz today. Let's see. Anybody else here worth noting? A lot of birthdays, but
yeah,
are they worth noting?
I mean,
anything on your end?
Yeah, I got quite a few on my end.
Okay.
We'll start with Justice Clarence Thomas, born on this day in 1948.
Okay.
The King Edward VIII was born on this day in 1894. And in the sports world, we got LaDainian Tomlinson.
All right. Good stuff there. Let's see. Moving on to deaths here. Let's see. John McAfee today.
Who?
Exactly. That's where I'm starting. Peter Falk.
Yes, Columbo died today in
Yes.
2011.
Let's see. Who else? I don't know. I got
Jonas
one more
Salk.
for you. Ed McMahon.
Okay.
Let's see. Chuck Taylor as well today, 1969.
Really?
Chuck
Like the
Taylor.
shoes?
Yeah. Yep.
All right.
I didn't realize he was a basketball player as well.
Well, they were original. Can you imagine a world where those were basketball? Those used to be the basketball shoes.
And I just couldn't imagine.
Yeah.
Like playing in those, like
No, with the flat bottom and no, I had a pair.
oh,
I
for
had a pair.
sure.
Before they were called Chuck Taylors, they were called Converse All-Stars.
That's right. I was rocking some Converse yesterday.
And
Frequently
yeah,
rocked
I could see, like, they're great, skateboarding shoes.
Yeah.
But when you look at where basketball shoes are, like, okay.
Terrible on the feet.
I got one more for the Facebook Live audience, okay?
Yep.
After the Chuck Taylors, what were the next big basketball shoes? What were the I know it. I've got the image in my head right now. What were the next big basketball shoes? Before there were Jordans, there was fill in the blank. Taking your input over at Facebook Live. Of course, our Facebook Live feed brought to you by Lake Urgent Care every single day. It's 8:12 at Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back from that break, everything under the sun with Moon. Before we take the break, I want to remind you about the folks over at Vex European. VEX, Vex European. Vinny and his team over there doing phenomenal work on a daily basis. Love getting caught up on some of the reviews from Vex European and VexEuropean.com because I like knowing that I'm not the only one that enjoys, full-on enjoys the service provided over there. And, of course, as soon as I say that, my internet's going to lock up and I'm not going to be able to read a review. Darn it. Here we are. I knew this was going to happen. All morning long, my internet's been spotty. All right, how about here we go. From Todd. Says, I wanted to give Vinny due credit. I have a 2019 Porsche Cayenne. This thing comes with a ridiculously expensive lithium-ion battery. Vinny saved me easily $1,500 by recharging it for me when it dies after only 3 years of use. He went above and beyond to take care of us. That's really just the kind of guy he is. And that is the kind of guy he is. And his entire team is like that as well. They are centered around you and your vehicle. You're paired with a master-level technician who knows your vehicle inside out. Learn more at VexEuropean.com. In fact, you book your appointment right there from the website at VexEuropean.com.
Oh, National Days today. National Typewriter Day.
Oh.
That's today in 1868. The patent for the first typewriter. Can't be available. Bless you. Was that a cough? Was that a sneeze?
Oh. Cough.
Oh, my bad. I had my head down. I was like,
I'm trying to keep my coughs very empty so they don't scratch up the throat.
yeah. Well, you sound better than you did at the beginning of the show.
Yeah, thank you.
Just improvement. It's improving. Hey, good morning, Moon. John here. Yeah, come on over. All right. That'll work. Yeah, we'll have you up here in about another minute or so. All right, no problem. Moon will be in. He'll be in tomorrow.
Okay.
You wanted me to just kind of.
816 Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP, mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. Every Monday we get caught up with Moon Griffon. We call it Everything Under the Sun with Moon. He's on with us now. How are you, sir?
Brian, I'm doing better than ever. I had a great Sunday after church watching a ball game. And I think it was LSU, but it was fun. What a just a fun win. You know, baseball, you know this because you played it. Such an up and down game. It's the life of failures, and as we're going through a long season, people start questioning the coach and the relievers and all that stuff. Kids get better and better, and I kind of laugh at everybody, including myself, when we start criticizing. I wish the relievers could throw strikes. And the bottom line is, it's so hard to win a national championship, and it's so hard to win one in baseball.
Yeah.
And as usual, at the end, the cream always rises to the top, and that's what LSU did. They always had the players, they got the coach, they got the facilities, they got everything. And if people would be patient with these schools and these kids, I think they'd be better off. But it was just fun to watch it all come together because we watch all the struggles, and the enjoyment of winning is phenomenal. And for those kids and for the school and for the coaches, they understand what I just said. They just really understand. As fans, unless you played ball, you might not understand as much how hard it is to do what they did yesterday.
No, absolutely. It's to see that on this level when we just got done seeing LSU run an undefeated season.
Sure.
And then, but like that's on that level. This is the pinnacle of college baseball, if you will, to steal a phrase. It is the top of the mountain, if you will. And I don't know that in baseball, you're never going to see it day in and day out on a D1 level, like where nobody's ever going to run the table ever.
Oh, no way. You have no chance of that. Absolutely none.
Your takeaways on Coach Schnall getting the boot in the first inning?
Well, that's one of those things that if you're a Tiger fan, you're going good. If you're a Carolina fan, you're going, that's not fair. But the bottom line is, if you go back and look at it, I think the umpires, I think they're trying to be patient. They had enough. I mean, we don't know every word that was said. You know how many times Brian umpires in the association back in the younger days, you get stuff in the ear all the time. You always ignore 98% of it.
Yeah.
But when somebody won't shut up and you told them several times that, look, go away, get away, back up. A coach ought to say at one point, you know what, I ain't going to win this. I may as well walk back. He gets the heave-ho. He got the heave-ho because he wouldn't shut up. And then the assistant walks out there and no telling what he told him. So after a while, what do you do as a referee or umpire? You're going to make a decision, and they made the decision. And one side's going to say he's wrong, and the other side's going to say it was called for. So, I don't have a take on it with the exception of this. The umpire thought he had enough. And you and me gonna never ever know what else was said.
Right.
What little F-bomb? I mean, think about it. You don't know.
Well, so when it first happened, I thought he was a little quick on the trigger. I really did. But when I saw the post-game press conference, I was reminded of the fact that nothing happens in a vacuum, and the way you treat people can come back to haunt you at any given time. And you could tell that coach carries with him a way that he treats other people. Coaches, working officials is an art. It is an art in how you handle other people. A lot of coaches can get a lot more run. They get a lot more room to run because they're not like defamatory. They're not pushing down. They're not punching down. Coach Schnall feels like the type of guy that's going to punch down all the time.
Yeah. Well, and I'm not arguing. You got a lot of these coaches are former athletes.
Yeah.
And, man, you learn a lot of toughness in sports. You learn how to fight, and you're very aggressive. So, hey, look, I think the coach probably got what he deserved in the time because of what's probably been said the whole time.
Yeah.
I don't even care about if the reporters say, well, look at this, look what he's mouthing, he tried to tell him. But you know yourself, Brian, there were other things the umpires probably overlooked for a while, too. Okay? You just overlooked it. And it's just a frustration for me. Look, do I think it had an outcome on the game? My answer would be no. If you look at it, when he did that, what was the score of the game? Carolina came rolling back.
Yep.
Coastal Carolina had other opportunities. They just didn't take advantage of it. Meanwhile, LSU took advantage of their key situation. So I just don't like having an asterisk by a game because of something a coach did. And let those kids play. And you got to think about it. You got to have a little class. I mean, the whole nation's watching. That's not the time to nut up, as I like to say.
We got Moon Griffon on with us. Catch Moon 9 to 11 right here on Talk 107.3 FM and everywhere statewide. All right, with a full week and change to digest the legislative session, have your thoughts or takeaways of the session evolved any, changed any? Is there anything that you've been able to digest?
Well, no, the only thing I'm looking at is there's been some groups that have put some information out there on some wasted money. I've been saying, we got $1.6 billion more for Medicaid with the Medicaid expansion that was brought in. I never liked expanding it at all. I'm all for having a safety net to helping people. I had no problem with that. But, Brian, this is kind of getting out of hand. So they're scared to death now of what happened it's happened at the federal level with Medicaid cuts. Okay? And I think most of the Medicaids are waste, fraud, abuse. But you've been getting a certain amount of money, and you start getting less, and I see panic in the eyes, but they were told the federal government's broke, and they didn't listen. So they kept spending all this money. Cameron Henry made it sound like that Brian, the thing about it is I've been talking about this for 15 years. Once you get to Medicaid, and you ever had the federal government go broke, and they start cutting money, you're going to be in a bad spot if your dependency is on the federal government. Guess what, Brian? We might be coming to that. And if we do, it sounds like to me, Cameron Henry said we may have to go back and do a big tax increase. Well, Brian, that's not good. We don't need a tax increase at this time. We
can't afford a tax increase.
No, we can't. We can't afford it, but just think now, if they didn't listen to me, I know. $4 billion. If $4 billion was cut out, we always said we would be in trouble. When we might have to live with the reality, we might be in trouble now because of budget and stuff in the past. That's why I always thought, we always talk about the old charity hospital system. Remember that, Brian?
I do.
And everybody said, well, it was a 1950s model. They were right. We should have revamped the way we did that and made it more clinics where people can go in and out, and it wouldn't be as expensive. What happens is people got to go to the emergency room. Medicaid is emergency room. That's the most expensive thing to go to. So that's what I'm starting to watch now is what happens with Medicaid on the federal level in the big, beautiful bill, because it's going to affect us.
How would we uncouple from it? I mean, what alternatives are out there? Because, I mean, look, the hole is dug and we're standing in it. How do we get out of the hole?
Well, that's gonna be a problem, Brian. And I'm gonna go this way. Something I've talked about, me and you've talked about on the air, is that we need to create an economy that's creating jobs and creating a budget that's coming from growth in the private sector. That's how you got to come out of it. I still don't see that yet. Everybody's talking about all the jobs and all the jobs that's coming. I always hear that. But until you create an economy that's growing, that's booming, kind of like South Carolina, when you do that, that will help you cover these expenses. But if you don't, you got to depend on the federal government to cut you a check. That's dependency. That's our problem right now. It's not just Medicaid. It's the whole state of Louisiana with the federal money. Over half our budget now is federal money. So you're not going to grow the economy. You're going to live in a dependent state. And that's not good, Brian. That's not what we want. I know you don't want that for your kids, and I don't want it for mine either. No,
absolutely not. We're talking with Moon Griffon. Catch him right after this show, 9 to 11 here on Talk 107.3 FM. Aside from the Medicaid, on the insurance front, it's kind of been a mixed bag. It depends on who you talk to as to whether or not we're going to physically see a reduction in rates. I talked with State Representative Mike Mellerine. He feels like we will. And to me, that's all that matters is if we actually see a reduction in rates. Don't care what it is, as long as there's a reduction. But others aren't so positive about it. Where do you come down?
Brian, I said this a while back. I've become such a wait and see guy with the state of Louisiana.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna be on a wait and see mode right now because I'm like you. You hear from both sides. You hear the bad, the ugly. And then I start saying, you know what? Let me just back up. Let's hope and pray. see what happens with insurance reform. I want to see if companies going to continue to write, or companies going to continue to try to come in, or any company saying, "Hey, I'm going to cut back on writing because of the House Bill 148, which I deem as the Get Tim Temple bill." And let's see what happens with that. So I'm a wait and see mode. I'm not predicting either way. I'm not smart enough, so I'm just going to wait and see.
I'm in that same boat with you, Moon. I just because I legit don't know, and I don't know. I don't think any of us actually know until we see it happen. Yeah, that 148 does scare me a good bit, though. For those who don't know, it basically, and I know I'm oversimplifying when I say this, and we've got Tim Temple coming on Wednesday, but it allegedly puts power in Tim Temple's hands that he doesn't have. Where he's at right now, he's able to reject rates that don't meet the numbers crunch, that don't have the the actuarial backing to them. He can already do that. This basically just shifts blame when things go wrong.
There's one man in our state who can make a difference to change things. Our governor is so powerful, and I'm not talking about Landry, but I'm talking about Landry now, Edwards, Mike. You go back to all of them. If the governor wants to get something changed on insurance in a positive way, all positive, he's the one that's got to do it. And I don't think that happens. That's just my opinion. I don't think I think they did more job of fighting a lot of good bills that would help. I really do. And I still think trial lawyers are clapping because I still feel like I'm not just talking about trial lawyers in general, but the TV trial lawyers. Because I'm getting beat up every weekend, it seems, from a couple of them that got my cell number, and I'm laughing because I must be living rent-free in their head because on the weekend I could care less what they think.
I don't know, man. Gordon McKernan bought fewer Jello shots this year, so he might be tightening the belt.
It ain't just him, it's some other ones too. I'm just kind of laughing because I got to be living rent-free in somebody's head is all I'm going to say.
No, we've been running it as a promo, by the way, and I love it. I absolutely love it. What else you got on the show today?
I got, we're going to talk a little bit about, of course, LSU. We got, Trump hit some bombs in Iran. I want to visit about that as well because, once again, that's the subject everybody doesn't know a lot about, me included. I want people to be patient with that. It don't mean we're in war. It don't mean we're going to war. It just means that we try to take out something. We've done that in the past with Iran many times. So that's going to be the gist of it.
The Iran stuff. I mean, it's like while we're celebrating Game 1 and Kate Anderson winning 1-0, the rest of the nation was focused on that. I mean, that came down Saturday night, and just the ramifications here, Moon. I'm in the same boat as you. I don't think I'm anywhere near qualified to try and predict what's going to happen next.
No, I'm not. The only thing I have is since you mentioned Kate Anderson, and I just wish LSU come off with a little bit more money and keep the whole team together because they can make more money playing at LSU than playing in the minor league. So I'd like to see him stay another year.
Aside from Cade, so he's going to go number 1 overall. I don't think he's going to get whatever number he wants.
I think so too. But they got a lot. I'm curious to see if the portal steals a few, and I'm curious to see Jones will probably go pro. I'd love to see him stay another year, but he's awesome.
Look, if we've got the NIL dollars, I'd love to go take a couple pictures right from Coastal Carolina and bring them over here.
Well, I'll tell you what, Coastal Carolina, congratulations to them, but they're mid-major, and they had a good team. The problem they got is anybody that's good that's not major league draft eligible, they're going to play somewhere else next year, I can promise you.
They've got enough attention at this point. He is Moon Griffon. Catch him half an hour from now. Always appreciate it, brother. We'll see you tomorrow.
Thank you, my man.
Here's news. I'm so cold. I think all the rest of the ACs are working overtime to pump some air in the Eagle. I'm going to get my hoodie. Thank God for Dearman's. They came in for Foodie Friday last summer, or was it summer before? And they gave me a hoodie. So now whenever I'm cold in studio, I can go get my hoodie. And I don't know what it is about Dearman's, but like you go over there for like a lunch or a dinner and just have like a burger and fries and a drink, and it's cool. It's like it's so reasonably priced. But then when the whole family gets the milkshakes on the back end, it's like we might as well have gone to Ruth's Chris. What the hell just happened here? Worth it though. The nectar cream of the nectar milkshake. Oh my God. So good. Oh. What's the guy's name? Camara. There he is. All right, it's time to get a look at your forecast. Here's what we got going on today. A high of 94 today with an overnight low getting down tonight, tomorrow morning to 74. High of 91 tomorrow with an overnight low of 73. High of 95 on Wednesday and Thursday. Now, we've got a very, very low chance of rain today, tomorrow, and Wednesday. Here's the thing, though. You know how it is this time of year. It's going to show you a 20% chance of rain, but you know full well that at some point during the day, there's going to be like this wicked 10-minute monsoon somewhere. You just don't know where. So that's your forecast for the first half of this week. While we're checking the forecast, let's pivot over on out to the tropics real quick, out to the Atlantic. There is a disturbance out there. It's not going to affect us at all. But there's a disturbance out there that's showing a 70% chance of becoming a named storm over the next 48 hours. It is a low-pressure system located about 600 miles east of Bermuda. Like I said, not going to bother us, but is the first of the hurricane season. So we are taking note of it to start things off. Back home right now, sunny and 84 in downtown Baton Rouge. .838 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. You know, Ferris Bueller once said, "Life goes by pretty quick. If you don't stop to look around once in a while, you might just miss it." That's kind of where we are with AI right now. AI is moving pretty quick. So where are we, and what's the government's role in protecting us from ourselves here? I want to talk with Doug Kelly. He's the CEO of American Edge. Doug, welcome aboard. How are you, sir?
Hey, Brian, how you doing today?
I'm doing very well. I hope you are as well.
I'm doing great, thank you.
Let's get started. AI, where we are right now. This is about the time where Congress starts to want to put their hands on things, put their imprint on things. Where are we in the AI race, and what is Congress's role here?
Yeah, sure. Let me set the table a bit. So, artificial intelligence is the single most transformational technology that we will have in our lifetimes, right? So I'm 60 years old. I saw the birth of the internet, and I saw the important gains that brought to America in terms of global leadership, in terms of helping small businesses grow and find new customers, and also asserting American leadership and values across the globe. Now, make no mistake, with artificial intelligence, it's so much more powerful than that, and we are in a neck-and-neck race against authoritarian China for global AI leadership. And it matters which country wins that race because a country's technology reflects its values, right? Ours are open, transparent, and supports opportunity. China's are closed, censoring, and controlling. So it matters if we win.
Okay, but what does winning look like, though? I think that's because there's so many different ways that this can go wrong. Like, so what does winning look like?
That's a great question, right? So our programmers and builders of artificial intelligence, they focus on building responsible AI, right? That thing means it's helpful, it's not harmful, it's doesn't disobey commands, right? So that at the end of the day, China doesn't play by those same rules. And the danger is, we talked about Congress to start this off, right? The danger is that Congress and many of the states are trying to take too heavy a hand in the early stages of this AI race. And those heavy-handed regulations could, in fact, shift the balance of AI leadership to China, who's investing $1.5 trillion in AI. What they can't build on their own, they're trying to steal from us. And bottom line, Brian, they're trying to make the world more dependent on their technologies because it gives them leverage and allows them to assert authoritarian values into the global digital infrastructure. So in the same way when the internet first started, right, when Congress said, hey, wait a minute, this is a new technology, it could be really transformational, why don't we prohibit states from taxing internet services for 10 years? Let's give it a chance. That's what Congress is trying to do now, saying, hey, look, there's 1,000 regulations states right now are trying to put on artificial intelligence. Let's prohibit them from doing that for 10 years till we give this a chance to grow. It's a really smart thing, and we hope it will pass.
What are the fears? What are the holdups? Why would we not do that?
Well, I think, look, at the end of the day, legislators feel they got to legislate, right? They got to do something about this. But this this technology is moving so quickly that no elected official can fully understand the power and importance of this overall in terms of American security, American global economic leadership, and the advancement of our values. So we want to make sure we're not doing anything that hurts ourselves in advancing those three things. So I'll just give you an example. Whichever country gets higher level artificial intelligence first, they're going to have a really decided national security advantage, right? Those machines will be able to kind of scan the other countries' networks and figure out where vulnerabilities are and how to infiltrate them, right? I don't want China doing that to us with super high-powered AI. Secondly, these advanced AI machines will also be able to find and cure diseases that we've been fighting with for centuries, right? So let's say it figures out how to cure lung cancer or other types of cancers. Well, which country do we want to have that economic value in selling it to other parts of the world? Do we want it to be America or do we want it to be China? So, yeah, it's a new technology. Some people kind of hyperbolize the dangers and threats of it. But for me, I look at this as the most powerful human-enabling intelligence tool ever made. So you think about some of the schools, right? I live in Ohio, right? And, some of our schools, they don't have a lot of money. Well, artificial intelligence can be a very personalized tutor for the kids in that area to help them accelerate their learning in geometry or the sciences or math or whichever, right? Where their family can't afford a tutor, their teachers may not be fully up to snuff, but these tools can help them do it. So this is going to help unlock a lot of human potential and help America thrive and be all that we can be.
We're talking with Doug Kelly from the American Edge Project about AI and what guardrails, if any, should be up there. Doug, I think what the genesis of my question about why would folks not, what would be, what would be the impetus behind, what are the fears? The question stems from, if I'm in Congress and I am responsible for the people who are employed in my district, and there's a short-term fear that jobs will be lost because of AI, that's what might cause me to dig in, is that short-term fear to protect the jobs in my district when some of this is inevitable.
So it's a great question, and there's a lot of dispute on this. I would argue that when the internet first came around, people are like, wow, that's going to cost a lot of jobs. What it did was created whole new classifications of jobs that had never existed before, that then employed millions of people. But secondarily, what it did was it was an accelerator of small businesses, because now instead of focusing only on local markets, these small businesses could focus on global markets, right? And so if you think, there's roughly 500,000 small businesses in Louisiana, right? And they employ more than half of the state.
Yes.
So if you make these small businesses more powerful, more capable, and able to do more in a day with, let's say they have 2 staff, right? Because most small businesses are small, right? If they can do the work of 4 people instead of 2, that business owner is not going to fire people. They're going to say, look, we can make even more money now with the same people we have, and they may even hire more. So, for me, when you look at the small business piece of it, this is something that most small businesses live hand to mouth and paycheck to paycheck. And so if we can help accelerate their growth and their revenue and their ability to reach new markets across the globe, that's a really smart thing to do that people in Washington and the state level should be focused on accelerating.
What kind of protections do need to be in there? I mean, there is some level of this is a whole new Wild West. So how do we protect ourselves from those who would do us harm?
Yeah, no doubt. So some of the bills right now, and again, there's more than 1,000 of these bills that regulate AI all across the country. When we were competing against the Soviets in the space race, each state didn't say, hey, Lockheed, hey, Raytheon, we're going to regulate you or take you to court. We were all in together on a national strategy to make sure that we beat authoritarian Russia to the space race. So put that to here, right? What we need is a national innovation strategy that accelerates innovation, that invests in the workforce of the future, in STEM graduates, in skilled trades to build data centers and that helps slow down unnecessary regulations, but then also helps advance American AI across the world. So we're not ceding the world to China's AI, which again, like I said earlier, censors, surveils, and controls people's, ultimately tries to control people's thoughts and movements. That's what they do in China with their AI. And I think Louisiana's got a great story to tell on this because you just landed an enormous AI data center from Meta, which is the parent company of Instagram and Facebook. It's a $10 billion investment in Richland Parish, right? It's the largest of Meta's 20 data centers around the globe. It's one of the largest private investments in Louisiana's history. It's going to create 5,000 construction jobs. So that part there is just a big deal on its own. But the second part of why it's a big deal is it positions Louisiana as a leader in this AI race. And when a plant goes in like that, right? I've got a $20 billion Intel microchip factory coming near me in Columbus, Ohio here. It accelerates growth and development in that entire region. So Louisiana is going to create 5,000 jobs construction-wise. It'll lead to 2,000 more. But what it's also doing is the community colleges are getting involved and helping create more science, technology, engineering graduates. It's building more skilled trades to make sure the plant can be maintained. So it really grows that innovation ecosystem. And the more that we can grow that, the more opportunity it creates for everybody in the state. So it's a big deal, and Louisiana's doing it right, and it's showing these other states the right playbook to do this because there's having abundant energy. You guys are not lacking energy there, right? You're mobilizing local resources for this, and your business climate is innovation friendly.
The consequences and what this would look like in real terms if we do this wrong. How does this play out if, Congress or any state legislature decides they want to be overbearing here? Yeah.
So just back to your question of what should be regulated, right? There needs to be really wide guardrails that are built around real risk of potential problematic things like bioweapons and stuff like that. But too many of these states take a one-size-fits-all approach that wouldn't necessarily address those risks, but it would crush out all other types of frontier model AI innovation. So that's our challenge with this is that, you can't take a one-size-fits-all approach to this from 50 different states around the country. And your lawmakers have got it right. And of those 1,000 bills, only 4 are in Louisiana. So you guys understand the stakes of this overall. So what we can do wrong as a country is we can pass laws that will choke and throttle off our innovation when it comes to AI. I'll give you one example, right? So there's this thing called fair use, right? It's like you can use snippets of information from copyrighted works to make new and creative things, right? Well, there's a lot of people are saying with AI, you have to pay me for every piece of content you use to train your models. Okay, well, let's say that passes. And all of a sudden, AI companies like, look, we can't pay $40 billion for, this content or whatever. Well, here's the problems that cause. Second, for our military, which increasingly uses commercial AI products, it's going to create blind spots because they're not trained on all the data that it could. But secondly, let's say these AI machines couldn't read all the different medical journals because the owner of the medical journal were like, hey, listen, nope, you cannot have our stuff without paying us a fortune. Well, that's going to slow the AI's model's ability to find new cures and treatments for diseases that are threatening us right now. Do we want that? Do we want to slow that type of innovation down? I don't want to. Because it's ultimately creating a very transformational thing. If you read a bunch of medical journals and then you come up with new solutions for a cure for, let's say, cancer, it's not like you're stealing any content from anybody. What you're doing is exactly what Congress intended to do with the copyright laws and accelerating new innovation.
Last one before we get you out of here. I greatly appreciate your time. We're talking with Doug Kelly about the guardrails we might need to see or might want to see around AI. And that's the grasp that on a federal level, on a congressional level, we've got 10 senators who have been in office since before the World Wide Web was a thing. Like, how much do they really understand what it is they're going to be legislating on?
Yeah, that's kind of my point, Brian. It's like this is a quick-moving technology that's really critical for our country. And so I think we have to give it a really wide berth and say, hey, listen, we understand the same way with space, right? We understand there's risk with that, right? But we're Americans. We are willing to take those risks because we recognize that this transformational technology can ensure that America is the global leader for the next 100 years. But this race isn't going to be a 10-year race. It's barely going to be a 5-year race, right? The winner of this AI race is going to emerge within the next 2 to 3 years. So do we want to have short-sighted, reflective, and reactionary legislation that slows our ability to win over the next 24 and 36 months? Or do we want to take a longer-term view and say, what are the enablers that we can pass, like Louisiana's doing, of abundant energy, of increasing our number of STEM graduates, increasing our skilled trades, creating a business-friendly and innovation-friendly climate? I know the choice for me is very simple.
Yeah.
I want to make sure we're stepping on the gas in innovation and not stepping on ourselves when we're trying to beat communist China.
Where can folks go if they want to learn more about American Edge?
We'd love you to come to AmericanEdgeProject.org. That's AmericanEdgeProject.org. You can read a lot of the stuff that I've talked about here. You can sign up. And I'll ask your audience, right, because they're smart, engaged listeners who are active. Call your members of Congress and your senators. Say, look, we need to accelerate American innovation. And for this 10-year moratorium on state-based AI restrictions, keep that in the final budget bill. Because at the end of the day, if each state is allowed to regulate AI on its own, that's going to hurt investments in Louisiana, like Meta's data center.
Yeah.
They ain't going to happen if these AI regulations pass. So make people's voice heard, protect your technology leadership, and most importantly, help accelerate America's technology leadership.
There's a lot of parts that are moving, and they're moving fast. I appreciate
Amen,
the update.
brother.
He is Doug Kelly. No, thank you so much. We'll talk to you soon.
Hey, thanks, Brian. Take care.
You do the same. We blew right past your money now. We had a lot of ground to cover in that. So, quick break. Come back. We'll close it out next. Y'all, I have a phone call I have to hop on like immediately after the show. So I'm going to go ahead and bid you adieu right now, because as soon as we're done, we're done. So how long is the final call? 9.2? Okay. Oh. Yep. Did I get 8:58 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. Don't really have a whole lot of time left in the show. Want to thank everybody who hopped on board today. It has been a busy Monday. Obviously highlighted by LSU's win in Omaha, bringing home the 8th national championship in baseball program history. That was phenomenal. We'll hit that up on the way out before we're all done today. But as far as the guest list is concerned, it's been top notch. Doug Kelly was just awesome. We talked with Moon earlier. Rowdy Gaudet from LABI, Dr. Tiffany Ardwan from Our Lady of the Lake, and of course in our first hour, Curtis LeGeyt from the National Association of Broadcasters, talking about AM radio in every vehicle. Just all good stuff. It'll be available on demand at talk1073.com if you missed out on any of it. Before you get out of here, I want to remind you about the folks over at Breck.org. Breck is your home base, man. What I love about Breck is they've got to be all things to all people in Baton Rouge when it comes to their recreational activities. No matter what it is you're into, pickleball, tennis, running, rugby, swimming, kayaking, you name it, it starts at Breck.org. Gold medal award-winning parks available, gold medal award-winning facilities available, Breck.org, B-R-E-C. And by the way, still some openings for summer camps along the way if you so needed. All right, I don't want to dive into anything else here. Let's just leave on the call. Chris Blair, national championship.
1 out, bottom of the ninth. Runner at first. Shores comes set. The 0-1. Ground ball towards Dickinson. Flips it to Milam. The relay to first in time. Tigers win. Tigers win for the second time in 3 seasons and the 8th time in program history. The Fighting Tigers reach the pinnacle. They stand alone atop the mountain. Your LSU Fighting Tigers, the 2025 college baseball national champions.